Let's look at a few trig limits. Now remember, there are sort of two tricks of the trade here. The limit as x goes to 0 of sine x over x equals 1. The limit as x goes to 0 of 1 minus cosine x over x equals 0. And of course, you could do x over sine x. The reciprocal of that is also 1. You could do cosine minus 1. That's still going to be 0. Okay, so what happens here? I'm trying to break this into pieces that I can deal with. So think about this. I have a sine of 3x. 3x is just a variable, just like x. 3x is a quantity. So what I really need, I have an x in the denominator, and I have an extra sine of 3x kicking around over here. What I really need is I need a 3 down here, so I have the same quantity in the numerator and denominator. Can I write a 3 in there? Absolutely, as long as I put a 3 in the numerator. Okay, now, this is the piece that my trig limit applies to. So, what's the limit as x goes to 0 of 3? Well, it's just 3. This is the piece my trig limit applies to. That's 1. What happens to this piece? Well, as x goes to 0, sine of 0 is 0. So I have 3 times 1 times 0, which is 0. Let's look at this one. I have cosine squared of 4x minus cosine of x. I guess both of those terms have a cosine of 4x kicking around in there. Then I have a cosine of 4x minus 1. Now notice I have a 7x down here. I need the x over there. I don't really want the 7, so I'll put it over there. I also need a 4 there. The quantity going to 0 here is 4x. I can't just divide by 4. I have to multiply by 4 also. This is the clever one. If you really wanted to, you could write times 4/4 there. Okay, so this is the piece I'm working with. Remember, cosine minus 1 or 1 minus cosine doesn't matter. It's going to 0 regardless. So what are we doing here? I'm going to say, well, this is 4 times, what's cosine of 4x as x goes to 0? Well, cosine of 0 is 1 over 7 times this piece, well, that goes to 0. And all that times 0 is 0. Well, they don't always go to 0, but these two did, I guess. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. What happens here? You know, here we have a sort of a funny thing. I have a sine of 3x as x goes to 0, but I'd really kind of like to have sine of 3x over 3x. Well, you guessed it. I'm just going to make up a little 3x. If you divide by 3x and multiply by 3x, as the saying goes, have you really done anything? And it turns out I haven't. Okay, so I've got a 3 there. You could say 3/1 or whatever. Okay, so this piece works pretty well. Notice this piece, it's the reciprocal of the piece that we had before. So this piece is going to 1. This piece, of course, is 3. But this piece is the reciprocal of 0. And, of course, you can't take the reciprocal of 0. So this whole limit does not exist, right? If the reciprocal was headed to 0, this is headed to positive or negative infinity. And in fact, actually, we could probably say more precisely because cosine can't ever be bigger, cosine can't ever be bigger than 1, which means the denominator is a small positive number. But the numerator could be positive or negative. So I can't even say positive infinity or negative infinity.